Hey guys, it is Tuesday, September 28th. It's homecoming week here. It was like 80 some degrees, super hot today, so I feel like I'm kind of sunburned from being outside, but it's been, I don't know, it'll be a wild week being homecoming week and whatnot. So I did not hop on yesterday, so I'll fill you in on what we've been doing in 3rd grade so far this week. All right, our reader out louds this week are Sharing Our World Animals. We read I Love Guinea Pigs yesterday, and today we read A Friend for Lakota. Both of them are nonfiction, but this one's kind of like a narrative. It follows around a wolf pack, but it's through National Geographic, so I could actually follow the actual wolf pack, so it is nonfiction. And then I Love Guinea Pigs is just kind of an informative nonfiction book. So the kids actually really enjoyed both of those so far, I believe. I think they did. So yesterday for our reading lesson, we talked about ways to think and talk about books. This will tie in because we'll start marking our books using bookmarks here either at the end of this week or early next week, and really start using our reading notebook to document our thinking. So this just kind of gave us some ideas on things to think and talk about when we are reading our own books, or things to think about as I'm reading books to them. And we also made a list so far of some 5-star books, so just books we would definitely recommend for regular books, and by that I meant like paper format, and then also on Epic. That way they have some suggestions if they're looking for ideas on what to read. And also then, kind of tying into with our reading area for our word work lesson today, we played this game where there's kind of just wanted them to memorize the words, so it didn't really follow like the science of reading, but I'm glad I have the secret stories because we were able to look for all the stories in them so we could actually decode them. And we did talk about some heart words, and that how those are words that just don't follow the rules. So I kind of showed them how to listen for how many sounds you hear, and then putting a heart by the part that just doesn't follow the rule that it should. And for tough, we decided not to put a heart there because we have a story that explains why GH is doing that at the end of the words. So those are the words that were part of the game. I'll show you the game here too. It was just this little board game, so they were supposed to roll the dice and then move to the word and have to be able to read it. So again, most of these you can decode, especially if you have the secret stories, but there are some like though that you can't really, and through that you can't really decode without, even with the stories. So those are the heart words that I introduced. The rest of them we had their stories for actually all of them. So that was really cool for them to tie in and see how many of the words have a story that we've learned. And for science, since we are doing and talking about space, I found on readworks.org their article, The Day Sets. They have one for 3rd grade about space. So yesterday when we were doing our reading rotations, they read with me, and then like on their own I went around and read with each of them, whatever. And yesterday was about the moon, and then today was about the first 4 planets, and we're practicing reading and being able to write a summary. So yesterday after they were done, I had them write just like 3 sentences about what they learned or what they found interesting, and I had them do the same today. Most of them did really good. The thing I just have noticed with them in their spelling is that they always want to know how to spell the word. They're not very good at, like when I introduced the heart word thing today and like having them listen for how many sounds they hear in the word, they really did struggle with that too. So this has been really good practice to just kind of model that for them, and then like be there in small groups and help them through that, because I think they just are so used to either that you know how to spell it or you don't, and they're just not good at listening for how many sounds they hear in a word and thinking about, like what stories or what patterns they could be in that word. So that was, it's been really good, and I'll do that all week. I think there's 5 passages on Read Works, so they'll read a different thing about space, and it's tied in a lot to our science, which has been really cool. And they were testing kids they test the whole school just at the beginning of the year, the pairs poem and whatever else. So our title intervention groups will start this week as well, so I'll have less kids in here when I'm for about a 35 minute chunk, so I can work with some smaller groups, so that'll be nice as well. So that was kind of like our reading stuff, what we've been doing. And then for math, we started rounding, and we'll finish out probably our place value unit this week and assess early next week. So that'll be good. And then yesterday, to celebrate homecoming week, we did a little watercolor art, so I'll insert some pictures here, but our mascot's like a sailboat, so we did some watercolor sailboats, which I think turned out cool. Those are out in the hallway. And then today it was so nice outside, and it's supposed to cool off, and in Minnesota you never know when you're gonna get snow, so we went outside for about 20 minutes at the end of the day today just to, I don't know, just enjoy that nice weather before it turns frigid. So anyways, that's about it for the first 2 days, and we'll see how the rest of the week goes. Hey guys, it is Wednesday the 29th. Today was kind of just a wild day. Homecoming week is always a wild week, you know, but we had our, we call it the parade of schools. So all the not all the high schoolers, but like the homecoming royalty, the band, some of the choir, they come over and do like a pep fest, introduce the homecoming court, and the sports captains talk about their seasons, and they teach the kids some cheers, the cheerleaders are there. So that was this morning, like middle of the morning. So we went to music gym, came back, talked about like marking up books like with sticky notes, and I have these bookmarks for them. So that was our mini lesson today. And then they went off and read, and we practiced marking a couple pages. And we talked about how you don't mark like every single page, but just choosing a couple as you're reading for marking some pages that you would want to talk about or maybe write about. So we did that, and then we did our read aloud for today, which was the Apes nonfiction book. And then it was time for that pep fest. And after that, we came back and it felt like the end of the day. Like it was like herding cats there until lunch. So the morning after that was kind of shot a little bit. Like it's just hard to get them to really be focused. We read an article together just about the outer planets, because yesterday we read about the inner planets. And then after lunch and recess, we did rounding. We did to the nearest 100 today, and they actually did really well. Normally rounding is a struggle, but they're actually all really catching on and doing like good with it. So that's awesome. We will practice rounding to the nearest like 1,000. I think maybe we'll do 1,000 and 10,000s place tomorrow. I don't know if we'll go to 100,000, but we'll see. We'll feel it out a little bit. So, and then after I introduced them to MobyMax today. I like doing fact fluency on there. I really don't like MobyMax. I think it's kind of boring. But I do like the fact fluency on there, how they have to type it in, and it's not just like multiple choice. So I had them started on that. They did the pre-assessment, and then whenever they get like 100% on one, I usually just let them eat lunch in the classroom to celebrate. So kind of a little bit of a motivation for them to do their math facts on there. So we did introduce them to that today. And then for science, we took some notes in this space book I made. I'll show you that. So I just made this for them, each just like a cut, stapled, but vocab on the first page, and that's all we did today, was just filled out our vocab terms. But then we'll do some, we've already talked about the sun, so this should all be stuff that they can just kind of remember. We have the earth, have the seasons with the tilt. We haven't talked about the moon a lot. We read that article, but and then the last thing we'll do will be the moon phases. So we started this little booklet today for science, and we'll keep working on that. Tomorrow we have library in the afternoon, and then Friday is the homecoming parade, so we probably won't do it anymore this week. We'll see, but we'll for sure get to it next week. That's about it for today. It was red and white day because those are our school colors. Tomorrow's beach day, so we're almost there, almost done with homecoming week. Love it, but it just throws quite a few wrenches into everything. But I will check with you tomorrow. Hopefully we can have a little bit more normal of a day, since we don't have any interruptions from homecoming week at least. I have library, but that's not, yeah, anyways. Okay, all right, okay, bye. Hello, and happy Thursday. It was beach day, so I got my flamingos. I had my bucket hat. Oh, here it is. Anyways, Thursday. Less distractions today because of homecoming week, which was awesome. We had STEAM for our specials, which means they just don't get FIAD. So they come back a little bit more hyper because they don't get to run around, but they actually did pretty good, still staying focused today, which is great. So, show you what we did today, and all right. So for right now, we're trying to work in 2 word work lessons a week. So this week, earlier we talked about like the onsets and whatever. We use the secret stories to decode them, so change that up. But I played that board game, reading the words, using the stories in them to read that word. And then today, what it was is making word ladders using the same onset or rhyme. So like if it was like chase, then you could come up with another ch word or another ACE word. So I'll show you, kind of show you that. Here's the example in the book. So like we did a couple together, and then they did some on their own. So like from name to tame to same to shame, and then from shame they went ship, and then they went flip, then they went flop. So it just had to have the same onset or rhyme. So we did that. Most of them did pretty good. Some of them finished all 4 of theirs in like 15 minutes that we worked on it. Some of them only got through 1. So, you know, they were all just kind of at different levels with it. But overall, they did pretty good of being able to do like that word ladder. I also wrote this nice little letter because my class keeps drifting. Like whenever they write, I feel like they do this every year. So, but like from the margin, like as they write, the more they just like keep drifting over, and eventually like they're starting their lines like right there. So I wrote this just talking about like indenting, not needing to go to a new line every time you start a new sentence. A lot of them are doing that too. So I just wrote this little paragraph to hold up here and show them how neat it looks when you just start at the margin there. So anyways, that was another thing that happened today. We are getting, if you've read The Wild Robot, we just got to when the Ricos come. So we're almost done. We'll probably end up just finishing tomorrow, honestly. If you've read it, they just defeated the first Rico, so there's 2 left. And my class did not see any of this coming. So I had told them before today, I'm like, we're about to get to the really exciting point. Like, if you've liked this, it's gonna get super intense. And I don't think they quite expected what's happening to happen, so that was always fun. And in math, we rounded to the nearest 1,000. That was our last place value lesson. So we won't get to math tomorrow just because of the parade. So we'll review probably next Monday and then do our assessment next Tuesday and then move on to addition and subtraction. So I know a lot of kids already have addition down, so I will definitely try to make some different groups, smaller groups, so I can push some kids through and not make them sit there if they already know how to add. So. We also had library this afternoon, and then I also introduced our handwriting books. A lot of my kids need practice with their handwriting. So we do, I mean, I guess I wouldn't say we necessarily like teach cursive. Like, we have our handwriting books that do teach it. It starts off with a manuscript review, so this is what I'm having them do. I told them by next Friday I want them to have page 17, to page 17 done, so it's just reviewing some manuscript, and then it'll get into cursive writing. So it's not like we ever like make them use it, but we kind of, you know, use this to teach it to them, and if they want to keep using it after that, they can. So we're not required to teach cursive, but we still introduce it. That way, if they want to keep learning how and practicing, they can, but we're not saying like they have to write in cursive for anything. We just teach it to them through the handbook, and some of them choose to keep writing in it after that. So anyways, we introduced our handwriting book today. Yeah, tomorrow's our homecoming parade. Last day of homecoming, so that'll be good, but they'll be excited. We're gonna go with our first grade buddies, so I'll check in at the end of the day to wrap up homecoming week, but that was our day. Doesn't seem like I really shared a lot, but that's all we did, I think, so. Anyways, see you tomorrow. Okay, bye. All right, happy Friday. We survived homecoming week. We honestly did not do like anything today. Our morning we had our counselor for the first time. I mentioned that yesterday afternoon, I think. She ended up coming up in the morning, and she was here for like 45 minutes, which is great. Just kind of, you know, introducing herself to the kids who might not have known her yet and just talking about what she does, and she'll come in every other week from now on. But and then after that was already time for our morning recess, and then we came in and we did do like read to self, and I read some of The Wild Robot just because we were so close to finishing it, so I wanted to make sure we finished it today. So I almost got to the end of it this morning, and then after that was time, like we did read to self, and was time for lunch. And then after recess, I finished The Wild Robot, and it was time to talk about the parade. Then we went and met up with our first grade buddies, walked to the parade, got a bunch of candy. When we got back, we split up the candy, and that was the end of the day. So I do feel a little bad. I did lie to my kids for the first time, maybe only time, who knows. But they asked, as I was almost done with The Wild Robot, if there was a second one. And I just wanted them to like be really invested in what was gonna happen. So I was like, no, I don't think there is, no. But I obviously knew there is. So I said, no, there's not, I don't think this is it. And then it ended like, what? That's like the saddest ending to a book ever. What happens? And I was like, no, just kidding, there's another one. So then they were pumped that we'll start that one on Monday. So I just had a little white lie, you know, to get them really into the end of that book. But I was glad they loved it as much as I do, and I'm excited to start the second one. So, that being said, that was our weekend, third grade, homecoming week. A lot of interruptions, but a lot of fun, but also exhaustion. So, I'm gonna go to happy hour and then probably to bed. So, see you next time. Bye.